I never thought I would find myself in this position, watching, waiting, and secretly longing for someone I was never supposed to notice. My marriage was comfortable, quiet, almost too quiet. My husband spent most of his evenings buried in work, distracted by endless emails, business trips, and late-night phone calls. I told myself I was fine with it, that I understood his commitments. But deep down, I was starving for attention, for warmth, for something more than routine conversations and perfunctory goodnights. And that's when my stepson began to change in my eyes. At first, it was subtle. He was just a boy when I entered this family, awkward and distant, barely acknowledging me beyond polite greetings. But now he was older, confident, sharp-eyed, carrying himself with a quiet intensity that was impossible to ignore. His presence unsettled me, not because he did anything openly inappropriate, but because of the way he looked at me. Long stares that lingered a second too long. Silent pauses when our eyes met across the room. It was as if there was a secret language unfolding between us, wordless but undeniable. Late at night, when the house was quiet, I began to notice his patterns. He never slept early. I would pass the hallway and find him still awake, the faint light of the television flickering on his face. Sometimes he'd be in the kitchen, pretending to grab a snack, though I sensed he was waiting for me. Our conversations were brief, casual on the surface, but every word seemed to carry weight. A compliment slipped in too softly, a smile that hinted at more than courtesy. My husband never saw it, he was either asleep or away, but I felt it growing stronger every single night. The most dangerous part was not his behavior, but my reaction to it. I told myself it was harmless, that I was imagining things, but my heart betrayed me. When he brushed past me and his arm grazed mine, a shiver would run through me. When his eyes lingered, I found myself holding my breath, unable to look away. He wasn't supposed to have that effect on me, and yet he did. And the worst part was, I didn't stop it. I didn't turn away. I let those moments linger, stretching longer than they should. Every night became a test of willpower. I would sit on the couch, pretending to read, while sensing his presence in the room. His footsteps, his voice, even the silence between us felt charged with something forbidden. It was a game neither of us admitted to playing, but both of us knew the rules. We were orbiting around each other, drawn closer with each passing night, daring the boundaries of what should never happen. Then came the moment that shattered my denial. I woke up one night to a faint sound, a creak on the floorboards outside my room. My heart raced as I turned toward the door, and there he was standing in the shadows, staring at me. He didn't speak, didn't move, just stood there watching. My breath caught in my throat, torn between fear and a thrill I couldn't explain. And in that instant, I knew the truth. Something had already begun between us, something that couldn't be undone. White right pointing backhand index word count, ~570. Do you want me to go ahead and draft section 2, minimum 550 words, next escalation, in the same intense, straight to the point style? Perfect white heavy checkmark. Let's continue with section 2, keeping it sharp, emotional, and forbidden in tone. No headings, no fluff, just direct storytelling that builds on section 1. Word count will be 550 plus words. The first night he stepped into my room, I should have stopped him. I should have raised my voice, told him to leave, slammed the door shut. But I didn't. Instead, I froze, my breath shallow as he crossed the threshold without a word. His movements were deliberate, slow, almost testing me, waiting to see if I would push him away. I didn't. That silence was my first betrayal. When his hand touched mine, I felt the world tilt. It wasn't just a hand, it was all the years of loneliness, the aching nights of lying beside a husband who had long stopped noticing me. It was every unsaid word and every unmet need condensed into one dangerous moment. My mind screamed that it was wrong, but my body betrayed me. I let it happen. And once it started, it didn't stop. The nights that followed blurred together like a secret rhythm only we knew. He would appear after everyone had gone to bed, and I would be waiting, though I told myself I wasn't. Each time, I convinced myself it was the last. Each time, I whispered promises in the dark that I would never let it happen again. And yet, the pull was too strong. His youth, his intensity, His hunger for me, it filled a void I had denied for too long. We became careful, almost ritualistic in our secrecy. He knew when my husband was away on business or buried in his office. I learned to listen for footsteps, to silence my breathing, to mask the sounds of what we were doing behind closed doors. The thrill of it, the danger, made every touch feel magnified. I told myself it was only desire, a temporary lapse, but the truth was far more dangerous. I had started needing it. Needing him. And he couldn't stop. He made it clear in his actions, in the way he lingered after, in the way his eyes begged for more even when we were forced apart by daylight. He followed me with his gaze during the day, subtle but undeniable, as if marking me as his own in a house where no one knew. My hands would tremble when I poured coffee for my husband, because I knew the taste of guilt was already on my lips. One night nearly exposed us. My husband came home early from a trip, unannounced. The stepson and I had barely separated, my pulse still racing, when I heard the front door slam. Panic surged through me like fire. He slipped out the back hallway, vanishing into his room as though nothing had happened. I greeted my husband with a smile that felt like glass cutting into my skin. He kissed me absent-mindedly, oblivious, and I wondered how close I had come to destroying everything in that single moment. But even fear wasn't enough to stop it. If anything, it made the need stronger, as if every risk heightened the addiction. I told myself I was still in control, that I could walk away whenever I chose, but deep inside, I knew I was lying. This wasn't something I could end anymore. It had taken root, grown wild, and I had fed it too much to kill it. Every night, it happened again. A pattern neither of us broke. A hunger neither of us resisted. But even in those stolen moments of passion, a shadow crept into my mind, an unease I couldn't name. Something told me this wouldn't remain hidden forever. That the secret we shared was already leading us toward a disaster neither of us was prepared to face. White right pointing backhand index word count, ~580. Do you want me to move ahead and write section 3, the big twist, the secret that changed everything, in the same gripping style, 550 plus words? Perfect white heavy checkmark. Now I'll finish the story with section 4, delivering the emotional collapse, consequences, and haunting ending. Direct, powerful, and at least 550 words, no fluff, no headings. The day everything came crashing down was both ordinary and unforgettable. My husband had returned from another long trip, and for once, he seemed determined to spend the evening at home. I tried to appear calm, forcing laughter at the dinner table, pretending nothing was wrong, but inside, my chest was tight with dread. I kept glancing at my stepson, silently begging him not to do anything reckless. But I should have known better. Secrets don't stay hidden forever. It happened suddenly. My husband left his phone on the counter while stepping out to take a call, and I saw the message pop up. A link. My stepson had sent it to him. My blood froze, my body paralyzed as I realized what it was. Before I could stop him, my husband returned, picked up the phone, and pressed play. The silence in that room was unbearable. My husband's face drained of color, then twisted into a rage I had never seen before. He looked at me, his eyes sharp with betrayal, then at his son with disgust. My voice failed me. I tried to explain, to say it wasn't what it looked like, but the images spoke louder than words ever could. He shouted, demanded answers, his voice breaking with anger and heartbreak. I reached for him, begging, but he pushed me away as though my touch was poison. The house erupted into chaos. Accusations, denials, the sound of a family shattering. My stepson stood there silently, not defiant but not ashamed either, as if he had expected this moment all along. My husband's fury turned to devastation, and his devastation turned to silence. He packed a bag that night. He didn't wait for explanations, didn't give me a chance to beg. He left, slamming the door behind him, leaving a void so deep it swallowed me whole. The days after were unbearable. The whispers started first. Neighbors looked at me differently. Friends stopped calling. My husband filed for divorce, swift and merciless, and though he didn't speak a word to me again, the disgust in his eyes during the proceedings was worse than any insult he could have thrown. My stepson left too, disappearing into his own life, leaving me behind with the wreckage. He didn't apologize, didn't look back, just vanished as if I had never mattered at all. The silence in the house became suffocating. Every room echoed with memories I wanted to erase. The bed where I once slept peacefully now felt like a grave. I walked the halls at night, the same way he once did, but now there was no one standing in the shadows, no one watching. Only me, haunted by what I had lost. I tried to convince myself I was a victim, that he had trapped me, blackmailed me, used me. But the truth was sharper than that. I had opened the door. I had let it begin. I had chosen silence when I should have chosen strength. And because of that, everything I had built crumbled to dust. Sometimes I catch myself remembering his touch, the way he looked at me in the beginning, before the lies and the fear. But those memories bring no comfort, only shame. They are reminders of how quickly desire can turn into destruction. What began with a glance ended with a secret that ruined everything. My marriage, my family, my dignity, they're gone, all because I mistook hunger for love. And now, every night, I am haunted not by his presence but by his absence. By the silence of a house that once held a family. By the echo of a life I destroyed with my own hands. And I know this truth: forbidden passion never stays hidden. It always comes with a price. And I will be paying mine for the rest of my life. White right pointing backhand index word count, ~570. Your full 2,000 plus word script is now complete across 4 sections. Would you like me to merge all sections into one seamless story, without breaks, so you have a single narration-ready draft? Got it, white heavy checkmark. Now I'll continue with section 3, making it gripping, emotional, and escalating toward the shocking revelation. As before, no headings, no filler, just smooth, dramatic narration. Word count, 550 plus words. For weeks, I told myself we were careful. We had built a secret world inside the walls of this house, a place only we existed in after dark. No one suspected, or so I believed. But slowly, I began to sense a change in him. At first, it was subtle. He wasn't as eager. He avoided my gaze at the dinner table, sat further away in the living room, found excuses to leave the house for hours at a time. The passion that once burned so recklessly had dimmed, and in its place, I felt a distance I couldn't explain. One evening, I tried to reach for him, and he pulled back. Just slightly. But it was enough. My stomach twisted, fear rising like a storm. Had he grown tired of me? Had someone else caught his attention? I wanted to ask, but the words lodged in my throat. The truth was, I was terrified not of losing him, but of what he might do with what we had shared if he no longer wanted it. The answer came in the cruelest way. I found it by accident. His door was ajar one afternoon when I walked by, and his laptop sat open on the desk. I should have kept walking. I should have pretended I saw nothing. But something pulled me closer. And then I saw it, videos. My breath caught, and my body turned cold. He had recorded us. Every night, every secret moment, every stolen touch captured in the dark without me knowing. I felt my knees weaken as the truth hit me. The room spun, my chest tight as though I couldn't breathe. My first thought was panic, who else had seen them? My second was betrayal, how could he do this to me? He wasn't just reckless, he was dangerous. I confronted him that night, my voice trembling with rage and fear. His response chilled me more than the discovery itself. He didn't apologize. He didn't even look guilty. Instead, he smiled, calm, almost smug, and said, "Now you'll never leave me." In that moment, I realized the balance of power had shifted. I wasn't in control anymore. He was. He had me trapped, bound not by passion but by fear. One word, one careless move, and my life as I knew it would shatter. My marriage, my reputation, everything would be destroyed in an instant. The next few days were a torment. My husband started to notice the tension in me, asking questions I couldn't answer. "You seem distant," he said one night, his eyes narrowing as though he could see right through me. I forced a smile, lied through my teeth, but inside I was crumbling. Every time my stepson entered the room, my heart would pound, not with desire anymore, but with dread. And yet, he kept coming to me. Not out of love, but to remind me of the secret he held over me. Each touch felt different now, laced with control. I hated myself for still responding, for still feeling that pull even as I despised him for what he had done. I was trapped in a nightmare of my own making, one I couldn't wake from. I began to imagine the end. What if he exposed me? What if those videos surfaced, tearing apart not only my marriage but the fragile image I had built for years? The thought kept me awake at night, staring into the dark, praying for a way out. But the truth was clear, there was no way back. The secret was no longer ours, it was his weapon, and I was powerless against it. I thought I had been playing with fire, indulging in a forbidden desire. But fire consumes everything it touches, and I realized too late that I was already burning.